I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will.
Canelo lands good punches. I think Canelo could hurt Crawford. Crawford's, first time in that division and jumping 2 divisions.
No way against lesser competition. He knocks him the hell out. Canelo doesn't finish these guys, and he doesn't look good beating them. Shout out to the judges. The judges make Canelo look good.
Andre Ward hails Terence Crawford as one of the sport's deadliest finishers and explains why he believes Crawford has the tools to overwhelm Canelo Alvarez. Ward points out that whenever Crawford detects a weakness or sees an opponent stagger, he refuses to give them breathing space. Instead, he swarms with accurate combinations, perfect timing, and non-stop pressure until the fight is over. Ward argues this killer instinct separates Crawford from most fighters, making him dangerous at any moment. Against Canelo, that means even the smallest lapse or opening could quickly spiral into a devastating end.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat.
Andre Ward also shows immense admiration for both Crawford and Canelo as they head toward their clash. He stresses that this isn't just another big payday, but a battle where both champions are staking their hard-earned reputations. Ward respects the bravery it takes for the fighters with so much already achieved to gamble it all against one another. He believes this type of matchup elevates boxing as a whole, giving fans a genuine meeting of greatness for him. The fight reflects the very essence of the sport, and he deeply values both men's dedication to it.
Man, what's up, fight fans? It's official. I'm gonna be the third man ringside calling the Canelo Alvarez Terence Crawford fight September 13th at Allegiant Stadium. I'm excited to be a part of this event. I'm excited to be ringside calling this great card and this great matchup. Historic event for many, many reasons for both fighters. Super middleweight supremacy on the line, legacies on the line, your namesake and reputation is on the line. And I just take my hat off to both of these fighters for putting everything on the line late in their careers the way that they are. This is rare, and it's becoming more and more rare in boxing. Guys don't want this kind of smoke. They really don't want to face another counterpart that can ruin everything that they built. And it really don't matter how much money's on the table for a lot of guys. They'd rather take a lesser risk for less money than to risk everything like these two fighters are doing. So I take my hat off to them. And I also want to give a shout out to Turki Al-Sheikh for all that he's done to put this fight on. Dana White for all that he's done to put this fight on. And one more person that stays out the way and you don't really hear a lot about, but that has done a lot to make this fight happen as well. And that's my brother, Nick Khan. He just gets stuff done, man. And I want to thank him and shout him out as well for getting this done. So I'll see y'all in Vegas, man. Part of me wants to be home watching this fight in street clothes, but I got to take the street clothes off. I got work to do. I got to put that suit on, get ringside with John and Max, and call this fight like I know we can. Huge event, huge implications, historic night, and I'm happy to be a part. I hope to see you in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. If not, man, tune in live on Netflix.
Robert Garcia offered his assessment of Canelo Alvarez, noting that the Mexican star has not looked at his sharpest in recent fights. Garcia highlighted a decline in Canelo's speed and footwork, which left him looking less threatening than during his prime for a technician like Crawford who excels in timing and precision. Those weaknesses carry serious implications. Garcia believes such gaps could allow Crawford to assert his style and take control. If Canelo cannot rediscover his earlier quickness, Crawford's speed, angles, and adaptability inside the ring may prove decisive. Garcia's take mirrors a growing concern among analysts that Canelo may be on the decline, creating an opening for Crawford to exploit.
Jumping 2 divisions where he only had one fight at 154 and didn't look his best either. So there's a lot of questions, about that. And that's why a lot of people think Canelo is going to knock out Crawford. But I'm probably one of the only ones that I do give Crawford a chance. Yeah. I think Crawford could pull it off. Crawford is very talented. He's very fast. He's very smart in the ring. So I think a perfect fight, Crawford could pull off a decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think he could win a decision. I don't pick him. I wouldn't put my money on him winning because it's a very dangerous, risky fight, especially with Canelo being so strong. But Canelo's last few performances, he's looked slow, flat-footed, looking for one punch at a time. And if that's the Canelo that fights Crawford, Crawford could win a decision. Crawford could outbox him, could outsmart him, could land 3-4 punch combinations and move and win a decision. So do I give Crawford a chance? 100% think Crawford could pull it off. Would I put my money on it? Probably not, but I do give him a chance.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure. And hopefully be catching up sometime soon.
Thanks
appreciate
for coming.
it. Thank
you
you
very much.
Cheers.
Teddy Atlas, one of boxing's most trusted analysts, raised red flags about Canelo Alvarez's preparation before the Crawford showdown. Atlas claimed that Canelo may be overworking himself, pushing past what's needed in an already demanding training camp. He questioned the decision to include a young, hungry fighter like Jaron Ennis in his sparring, calling it an unnecessary move. In Atlas's view, training wisely is just as vital as training hard, and Canelo might be taking more out of himself than he gains. His warning suggests that in trying to sharpen every edge, Canelo could arrive at fight night drained, handing Crawford an unexpected advantage.
Now, so I avoided that. I would bring in specific sparring partners that knew how to be a sparring partner. Yeah, if I wanted some, I went over to him before the day started. Listen, I want you to do this. All right, Ted. I'm paying him. I have the right to do that. I want you to move more today. I want you to, you know what? I want you to press him a lot. You know what? There was a fight I was getting a guy ready for, and I was worried about the first couple rounds. So I said, when the bell rings, I want you to rush out of the corner and go right after him. And I was, obviously I had my guy ready because we were getting ready for that kind of fight plan, for the possibility that the opponent would come out that way. So I wouldn't look to get a boots Ennis. I mean, nothing wrong with that's what they want. That's fine. And I get it, the style, the size, the length. I understand. It's not a bad pick from that point of view. But for me, again, I never go down that road because I got my guy getting ready for a fight. I don't want to leave it in the gym. I don't want to get into that kind of war in the gym. No, I want to have control of all aspects of what the hell I'm doing in the gym to get ready for one night. So no, I wouldn't do that. I'd get the right sparring partners. If I thought I had a guy, I get guys that my guy could work with, and if he was having an off day, he could kind of, have his way and do what he wanted with the guy. I'd have one of them. I'd probably have 3 guys, sometimes 4, depending on where we were at, with the calendar when the fight was coming up.
Building on this, Atlas further warned that Canelo's toughest challenges may already be unfolding behind gym doors. He suggested that grueling sparring rounds might look impressive, but could cost him peak sharpness on fight night. Fighters only have so much to give, Atlas argued, and burning too much energy in training risks leaving your best performance in the gym. He likened it to showing your brilliance when it doesn't count. Against a fighter like Crawford, this could be dangerous because if Canelo enters the ring fatigued, he may not withstand the pace and precision Crawford brings once the fight begins.
And a lot has been taken out of you in the gym. You left it in the gym. And we heard that Jaron Boots Ennis was getting the best of Canelo Alvarez in his sparring sessions. That he possibly gave him a black eye. We saw the knot on his head. That was just a week ago. The fight is next week, next Saturday. So 3 weeks out from the fight, and you having this hard sparring sessions with Jaron Boots Ennis, who wants to prove a point. Leave no doubt. Jaron Ennis is going into those sparring sessions not just to be a sparring partner, but to gauge where he stands against a legend and a Hall of Famer and a superstar like Canelo Alvarez, to understand where he can get better and understand that he can actually compete on that level. So make no mistake about it. Jaron Boots Ennis wasn't in there to lay down. Now, he had a job to do. He was there for a specific reason, which is to give Canelo looks that Terence Crawford could possibly give him. But you best believe in those sparring sessions, he gonna give what he have. He gonna test the waters to see where he stands, right? Not just to help Canelo, not just to be a dummy. There's a reason you bring in a high-profile fighter. And so Teddy Atlas believes this is a huge mistake on Canelo Alvarez's part, because now he has possibly left it in the gym. And now he got to go into battle with Terence Crawford. So it's like having 2 fights in a matter of 3 weeks. And your body's going to show the wear and tear.
A central talking point in this matchup is Canelo Alvarez's renowned punching power. Even when he seems slower or less mobile, his shots carry enough danger to keep opponents cautious. Many fighters spend most of their time in survival mode. Against him, defending rather than attacking, which explains why some bouts go the distance. Not because Canelo lacks the ability to finish, but because rivals are too wary to expose themselves. Against Crawford, however, that strategy may prove risky. Crawford has shown time and again that he can dismantle defensive fighters with patience, traps, and sudden offensive burst if Canelo relies solely on power to keep Crawford at bay. It may not be enough against someone skilled at breaking down even the most guarded foes.
And no, for sure. I mean, we gotta see that fucking Canelo got power. That's the same reason why, at the same time, Canelo ends up going the distance with a lot of these guys, because these guys are just on survivor mode, you know? They're not trying to fight back. They're not trying to win. They're just surviving, which is hard to knock somebody out that's just surviving, you know? So I feel like Canelo's power is definitely there. I just think it's just a matter of how Crawford reacts when he feels it, you know? Is he gonna be one of those survivors, or is he gonna actually, you know?
No, I think Crawford will go out on the shield. I think he's gonna fight and go out like a warrior.
At the same time, I feel like he does that, then it gives Canelo a chance to be able to clip him, you know? More of a chance.
Turkey said no more Tom and Jerry. I don't expect him to run.
I mean, I don't expect him to run, but at the same time, it's boxing, you know? It's boxing, it's hit and don't get hit, swim and not get
Is that what Haney did when he fought Jose Ramirez?
No, that's a different type of...
Is that what William Skull did when he fought Canelo?
Yeah, you see, I feel like it's just because I feel like when you watch Bivol versus Betterby, the second fight, that's great boxing right there.
Critics have also scrutinized the quality of Canelo's recent wins. Although his record remains intact, many feel the performances have lacked the dominance of his best years. Rather than emphatic knockouts, his victories often look like tactical grinds where size and strength carried him more than sharp skill. Crawford, by contrast, brings a broader arsenal into the ring. His smooth footwork, switch hitting, tactical intelligence, and crisp punching give him tools that trouble even elite opponents. While Canelo leans heavily on power and durability, Crawford has multiple layers of skill that allow him to control the tempo. This contrast has led many experts to see Crawford as the favorite despite Canelo's track record.
He knocks him the hell out. Canelo doesn't finish these guys, and he doesn't look good beating them. You know, shout out to the judges. The judges make Canelo look good for the past 6 fights. And so now we sit here, you know, what is Canelo going to do against Crawford? And while some of you are saying, you know, domination and weight, really the only thing that I hear is his weight, his power, his weight, his power, his weight, his power. And that's all that he has. But when I get to talking about Crawford, we'll dive into that.
Well, to Byron's point, the last super quality fight that Canelo had was against Dimitri Bivol, and we all know what happened with that. You know,
no, I thought Caleb Plant was a good opponent. I thought Caleb Plant was a good opponent.
Well, it was Caleb Plant, then it was Bivol.
Yeah, right.
Plant, then Bivol. Well, don't forget to point out that Bivol came down. Right? No, that was 1.5. Canelo went up. Canelo went up. So that kind of puts Canelo at a disadvantage, right? He tested.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say that, right? If you want to say that,
I mean, you know,
I can. But
I mean, I'm not saying that that's an excuse for him for losing. I'm just saying, hey, you know, if you're gonna test yourself to be great, you gotta wear the consequence.
So let me ask. So no, you're right, 100%. But let me ask you a question. I'm just asking because I don't know. Like, so when you watching that fight, did you think it was a weight issue, or did you think it was more of a skill and boxing thing when watching that fight with Bivol and Canelo?
I thought he was outclassed.
I agree. It was
outclassed.
And it looked like he was being outclassed by basic fundamental boxing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So that was my point. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Bivol's weight had anything to do with him, because Bivol's not a knockout artist.
And this legendary power that y'all speak of, this ass-taking Zeus god power that he has, it did not show in that fight.
Gabriel Rosado leans in favor of Canelo Alvarez. citing his unmatched experience on boxing's biggest stages. Rosado noted that Canelo has been fighting under the brightest spotlights since early in his career, consistently facing top-tier opposition. That long list of high-pressure encounters, Rosado argues, gives him an edge in moments when the stakes are sky-high. Crawford, meanwhile, will be entering his first true global mega-event. Though Rosado acknowledges Crawford's talent, he believes experience carries the most weight when it matters most, and that gives Canelo a decisive advantage.
I favor Canelo. Not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, I think the Skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? You know what I mean? I'm up. This guy's running. I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Madrimov did give Crawford problems. You know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, at 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different. You know what I'm saying? So you going up 3 weight classes, because he was 47, 54, 60, 68, that's 3 weight classes. It's a major difference, man. And one thing is like, right, so people are saying Canelo has problems with movers. But the reality is Crawford's not a mover. Crawford's not a fighter that fights on his feet in the sense of boxing, kind of like, let's say, how a Pernell Whitaker would box or how Landy Lara would box. Crawford is a fighter that works on angles. He's not on his feet like Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? He's not that kind of boxer. So he's going to be there to get hit, And I feel like that favors Canelo, because Canelo's going to hit you in the arms. He's going to hit you in the elbows. He's going to hit anything you give him, he's going to take it. You know what I mean? And now, is Crawford just going to switch his style and become a mover, moving up 3 weight classes? So now you're going to put all that weight on your legs, and you never boxed like that before. How can you do that?
Shob as the adult discussed what he calls the Canelo in May curse. He explained that Canelo often looks rusty in May fights, likely due to long layoffs after his typical September outings. By contrast, September tends to bring out his best form, as seen in his dominant performance against Jermall Charlo. Fans often point to disappointing May fights like those against John Ryder or Billy Joe Saunders, while September showcases his sharper displays against names like Charlo or Edgar Berlanga. If Crawford fights Canelo in September, this trend could spell trouble. Still, doubts remain about Crawford's own transition in weight. His outing against Israel Madrimov, while effective, didn't display the same dominance he showed in lighter divisions. His power seemed less destructive, and his movement not as smooth. Critics argue that if Madrimov posed challenges, then facing a seasoned veteran like Canelo is an even greater mountain. With Canelo's size, durability, and experience, the question remains whether Crawford can carry his strengths against naturally larger opponents. That uncertainty will only be answered inside the ring.
It was in May, Mexican Independence Day, September. And in May, he always has a bad performance called the Canelo May curse. And come September is a better performance. His best performances are in September because since he only fights once a year, after September is a long layoff until May again, which is kind of like his tune-up fight where he looks rusty. I gotta see if this is true. So I brought up the box rec and I want to go through this with you guys to see if it's actually true. Now, if it is, that's bad news for Terence Bud Crawford, right? So let's look at this. May, William Skull. We're going to go from recent to the past. William Skull, May. We all know that was a horrible performance to the point where people think Canelo Alvarez is, he's not looking right. He's finally starting to kind of go down in his abilities, right? And all those things. And this is kind of like the end of his career type of thing. He's in worse shape than Terence Bud Crawford because of this performance. And I've heard people say that before, and I'm wondering if that's every May. So, William Skull, bad performance, May. September, good performance, Edgar Berlanga. Lightning strike! Okay, we all know that was a good performance. Everybody was excited about that fight. Jaime Munguia, May! He's been very criticized about going 12 with Jaime Munguia, right? He knocked him down, but going 12 with Jaime Munguia, and people saw that as a horrible performance from Canelo Alvarez. I actually liked that fight. They were going at it, but people say